Good morning, my friends. Today we're talking about the moves God is making in your life. Not just any moves, strategic, deliberate, and powerful moves. God isn't playing checkers, where every piece moves the same and the game is simple. No, God is playing chess, a game of foresight, patience, and precision. Life often feels chaotic, doesn't it? You may feel stuck or like things are moving too slowly. But here's the truth. God sees the whole board. While you're looking at one step, he's planning 10 steps ahead. When you play checkers, it's all about jumping over the next piece. It's quick, it's reactive. But chess is about vision. It's about understanding how every piece has its role and how every move builds toward a greater purpose. That's how God works in your life. You're focused on today's obstacles, that overdue bill, that tough conversation, that job application you're afraid to send. But God isn't just looking at today, he's orchestrating your tomorrow, your next year, and even your legacy. Life often feels like a series of unpredictable events, like trying to navigate a maze without a map. Every day brings challenges, decisions, and moments of uncertainty. We tend to focus on the here and now, seeing only what's directly in front of us. It's natural. Our minds are wired to solve the immediate problem, to tackle the next task, and to overcome the latest obstacle. But the truth is, our vision is limited. While we're consumed by the pressing issues of the moment, God sees the whole board. His perspective is far greater than ours. Where we see a small fragment, he sees the entire masterpiece. Think about this for a moment. When you're in the middle of a situation, it's hard to understand the bigger purpose. It's like looking at a single puzzle piece and trying to imagine the completed picture. That piece might seem insignificant or even out of place, but when it fits into the grand design, it becomes essential. In life, we're holding those small individual pieces. But God, the creator of the puzzle, knows exactly how each one fits together. He sees the corners and the edges. He sees the parts that form the foundation. He sees what we cannot. Imagine a skilled chess player sitting across from an opponent. To the untrained eye, their moves might appear random or reactive. But in reality, every move is deliberate, thought out, and calculated to achieve a larger goal. That's how God works in our lives. We may only see a single piece being moved, a new opportunity, a closed door, an unexpected challenge, but every move is part of his master strategy. He's not responding to life's chaos. He's orchestrating every detail with precision. This understanding changes how we approach the struggles and setbacks we encounter. When we recognize that God sees the whole board, we begin to shift our perspective. What feels like a delay might actually be a protective measure. What seems like rejection could be redirection. What we perceive as failure might be a stepping stone towards something far greater than we could imagine. It's not always easy to accept this. In the middle of the storm, it's hard to see beyond the clouds, but faith is the bridge that helps us trust the unseen. There's a level of peace that comes with trusting God's perspective. When you know that someone else sees what you can't, you don't have to bear the burden of figuring out everything on your own. Think of a pilot flying through dense fog. The passengers may feel anxious, unable to see anything beyond their immediate surroundings, but the pilot has instruments, training, and a clear understanding of where they're headed. Similarly, God is guiding us through the foggy moments of our lives. While we might feel lost, he knows the destination. This trust doesn't come naturally. It's something we cultivate over time. We have to remind ourselves that God's knowledge is infinite while ours is limited. When we face detours, it's tempting to question why we're being led away from the path we thought was right. But those detours might be avoiding unseen dangers or positioning us for opportunities we never anticipated. God's view from above allows him to see not only the road you're on, but every other road that intersects with it. He's navigating your path while considering the broader tapestry of his plan. There's a story in Scripture about Joseph, a young man with big dreams. Joseph was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused and imprisoned. From a human perspective, his life seemed like a series of tragedies, but God saw the whole board. Every setback was a setup for something extraordinary. When Joseph finally rose to power, he was in the perfect position to save countless lives, including his own family's. What looked like defeat along the way was actually God's hand moving pieces into place. This idea is not just a biblical concept, it's something we see in the lives of ordinary people as well. Consider someone who faces a heartbreaking career setback, being let go from a job they love, for example. In the moment, it feels devastating. But what if that job loss is the catalyst that pushes them to pursue their true calling or opens the door to an opportunity they wouldn't have considered otherwise? God's vision allows him to use even painful circumstances to guide us toward a purpose we might not yet understand. When you realize that God sees the whole board, it changes how you respond to life's uncertainties. It's no longer about trying to control every outcome or fix every problem on your own. It becomes about leaning into his wisdom, trusting his timing, and believing that he's working behind the scenes. This doesn't mean life will always make sense or that every moment will be easy. Faith doesn't eliminate challenges. It gives you the strength to face them with confidence that God is in control. Think about the story of a caterpillar transforming into a butterfly. During the chrysalis stage, the caterpillar is hidden away, undergoing a profound change. From the outside, it looks like nothing is happening, but inside, a transformation is taking place. When the butterfly emerges, it's clear that the waiting and the struggle were necessary parts of the process. In the same way, God uses seasons of waiting and growth to prepare us for what's ahead. We may feel stuck in one place, but God knows what's happening beneath the surface. God's perspective is eternal, while ours is often temporary. We focus on the immediate, what's happening this week, this month, this year. God sees the span of our lives, and more than that, he sees how our lives intersect with others, how they contribute to his larger plan for the world. It's not just about you and your journey, it's about the ripple effect your life creates. The decisions you make today, guided by faith, have the power to impact generations to come. When we acknowledge that God sees the whole board, we start to approach life differently. Instead of reacting to every problem, we learn to pause and seek his guidance. Instead of being consumed by fear, we hold on to hope. Instead of giving up when things get hard, we trust that every move has meaning, even if we can't see it yet. Trusting in God's perspective doesn't remove the challenges, but it reminds us that those challenges serve a purpose. Every piece on the chessboard has a role. The game is not won by a single piece, it's won by the strategic interplay of all the pieces working together in harmony toward a greater purpose. This is true in life as well. Sometimes we feel like the smallest, least significant piece, like a pawn. And yet, even the pawn, when moved deliberately and with intention, has the potential to become one of the most powerful pieces on the board. In God's design, nothing is wasted and no one is insignificant. Every piece has a purpose, even when its role seems minor in the grand scheme of things. When you look at the chessboard, you'll notice that each piece moves differently. The king moves one square at a time, carefully protected by the others. The queen has tremendous power and can sweep across the board in all directions. The bishop glides diagonally, the rook moves in straight lines, and the knight takes unique, unexpected L-shaped paths. Every piece has its specific capabilities and limitations. Each one has its purpose within the game. Similarly, in life, we are all uniquely designed by God, given different strengths, talents, and roles. No two people move the same way, and no two callings are identical. You may find yourself comparing your role to others, wondering why someone else seems to have more influence, more success, or a bigger stage. But the role of a pawn is no less critical than that of a queen. The game cannot be won without both. Every piece is essential to achieving victory. Your contribution, no matter how small it may seem to you, is vital in God's plan. He placed you on the board with purpose and intention, knowing exactly how you fit into the bigger picture. Even if you don't understand why you've been positioned where you are, trust that your role is part of something far greater than you can see. Sometimes life can make you feel stuck or limited, as though your moves are restricted by the circumstances around you. A pawn, for example, can only move forward one step at a time, while other pieces seem to move more freely. But even those small, steady moves are important. A pawn that stays the course and perseveres has the potential to reach the other side of the board, where it can be promoted to a queen. A piece of unmatched power. The lesson is clear. Even when you feel small or unnoticed, stay faithful. Keep moving forward. God can take what seems insignificant and transform it into something extraordinary when the time is right. Your current position may not be glamorous or exciting. It might even feel like a dead end, but that's not how God sees it. Think about the knight on a chessboard. Its movements don't seem logical or direct. It jumps in L shapes, often moving sideways or backward before making forward progress. It may look inefficient, but the knight's ability to take unconventional paths is precisely what makes it so valuable. In life, you may find yourself on a path that feels like it's taking you away from your goals. You might feel like you're moving backward or being delayed. But God's ways are not our ways. He often uses the unexpected to accomplish his purpose. Trust that even the detours have meaning, and remember that progress doesn't always look the way we expect it to. There is also a powerful lesson in the way chess players protect their pieces. The game requires a balance of offense and defense. Sometimes a piece must be sacrificed for the greater good. In our own lives, we may experience moments where we feel like we're losing something valuable, whether it's an opportunity, a relationship, or a dream we've held on to. It's easy to see these moments as defeats, but God uses even the losses for a greater purpose. Just as a chess player might sacrifice a rook to gain an advantage later in the game, God might allow certain things to be removed from your life to position you for something greater. What feels like a loss is often a setup for a comeback. Consider how the interplay of pieces on a chessboard reflects the interplay of people in our lives. None of us lives in isolation. We are all part of a larger network, working together to achieve God's ultimate plan. The way you move through life, the choices you make, and the way you interact with others have a ripple effect that goes beyond what you can see. You might think your actions are small or inconsequential, but they can have far-reaching implications. A kind word, a helping hand, or a moment of encouragement might be the very thing that sets someone else on the path they were meant to follow. God uses each of us to impact others, and the collective influence of our lives contributes to his greater purpose. It's also important to recognize that not every piece is in constant motion. In chess, some pieces remain in place for long periods, waiting for the right moment to be used. If you find yourself in a season of stillness, it doesn't mean you're forgotten or unimportant. It simply means God is holding you in reserve for the perfect time. Being still is not the same as being stagnant. It's in those quiet moments that God prepares you for what's ahead. Just because you're not moving doesn't mean you're not part of the plan. The diversity of pieces on the chessboard also serves as a reminder that everyone has unique gifts and callings. In the body of Christ, some are called to lead, some to serve, some to teach, and others to encourage. Each role is critical, and no one is more important than the other. A queen cannot win the game alone, just as a bishop or a rook cannot fulfill every role. God has placed each of us where we are for a reason, and he has equipped us with the specific skills and abilities needed to fulfill our purpose. Comparing yourself to others only distracts you from the role you were created to play. The purpose of each piece also extends beyond the individual. In chess, the goal is not for any single piece to shine, but for the entire team to achieve victory. Similarly, our lives are not about personal glory, but about contributing to God's greater purpose. Sometimes this means stepping into the spotlight, and other times it means working quietly behind the scenes. Both roles are equally valuable in God's eyes. What matters is faithfulness and obedience in fulfilling the role he has given you. When you understand that every piece has a purpose, it changes how you view yourself and others. You begin to see that your worth is not determined by your position on the board or by the size of your impact as you perceive it. Your worth comes from the fact that God has chosen you, called you, and placed you exactly where you need to be. It also changes how you view setbacks and obstacles. Instead of seeing them as failures, you recognize them as part of the process. God uses even the challenges to refine you, strengthen you, and prepare you for what's ahead. Every move you make, no matter how small, matters in the grand design of God's plan. Every choice, every step of faith, and every act of obedience contributes to the larger story he is writing. Even when you don't understand how it all fits together, trust that he does. Your role is not to see the entire board or know every move, but to remain faithful in the part you've been given. Patience is a virtue often spoken about, but rarely appreciated in the moments when it's most required. In life, the temptation to rush forward can be overwhelming. We live in a world that celebrates speed, instant gratification, and quick results. The culture we're surrounded by conditions us to believe that if something doesn't happen immediately, then it's not meant to be, or that we're failing. But God operates on a different timeline. His ways are not our ways, and his timing is not our timing. When we feel stuck in a waiting period, or when things aren't unfolding as quickly as we hoped, it can be difficult to hold on to faith. Yet it is in these moments that God is teaching us to trust him, to lean on his wisdom, and to grow in ways we could not if everything came to us easily or instantly. Patience in the process is not passive. It's not about sitting back, doing nothing, and expecting everything to be handed to you. It's active trust. It's continuing to sow seeds even when you haven't seen the harvest yet. It's doing the work in the dark, believing that the light will eventually come. Patience is about knowing that every step, no matter how small or insignificant it might feel, is building toward something greater. It's about understanding that God is always working, even when you can't see or feel it. Just because you can't see movement doesn't mean there isn't progress. Sometimes the most important growth happens below the surface, out of view. When a seed is planted in the ground, there is an expectation that it will grow into a plant or a tree. But that doesn't happen overnight. Before you ever see the first shoot break through the soil, there is a process taking place underground. The seed is germinating, roots are spreading, and a foundation is being established. It takes time and care, and none of it is visible at first. If you were to dig up the seed to check on its progress, you'd risk disrupting the entire process and preventing it from reaching its full potential. In the same way, God asks us to trust him with the process, to have faith that he is working in our lives, even when we can't see the evidence yet. Patience is often required when the situation seems most dire, when it feels like nothing is happening, or when every door appears to be closed. These are the moments that test our faith the most. They're the moments when doubt creeps in and whispers that maybe we're wasting our time, that maybe we've been forgotten, or that maybe God isn't listening. But these are also the moments when faith has the greatest opportunity to grow. True faith is not about believing when everything is going well and the path is clear. True faith is about holding on when the outcome is uncertain and the waiting feels endless. The waiting period is not a wasted period. It's a time of preparation. God uses these seasons to refine us, to shape our character, and to teach us the lessons we'll need for the next stage of our journey. It's in the waiting that we learn perseverance, humility, and gratitude. It's in the waiting that we discover who we truly are and what we're truly capable of. The struggles we face during these times are not meaningless. They are opportunities for growth. Just as muscles grow stronger when they're challenged through resistance, our faith grows stronger when we're required to exercise patience and trust in the face of uncertainty. Patience in the process also teaches us the value of timing. There's a reason why things don't always happen when or how we want them to. Sometimes we're simply not ready for what we're asking for. We might think we are, but God knows us better than we know ourselves. He knows the areas where we still need growth, the lessons we haven't fully learned yet, and the things we need to release in order to step into his plan for us. If we were given everything we wanted the moment we asked for it, we might not be able to handle it, and it could end up doing more harm than good. God's timing is perfect even when it doesn't align with ours. There are also moments when the delay is not about us at all, but about the people and circumstances around us. God is orchestrating a plan that is far bigger than we can see or comprehend. He is aligning the right opportunities, the right people, and the right circumstances to bring his purpose to fruition. What feels like a delay on our end might actually be God's way of protecting us, positioning us, or ensuring that everything is in place for the blessing he has in store. Trusting in his timing requires us to let go of our own expectations and surrender to his greater wisdom. During the process, it's easy to become fixated on the destination. We tell ourselves that we'll be happy, fulfilled, or at peace once we reach a certain goal or achieve a specific outcome. But the truth is, there is value in the journey itself. Every step of the process has something to teach us if we're willing to pay attention. The waiting period is not just about reaching the destination, it's about who we become along the way. It's about learning to find joy and contentment in the present moment, even as we strive toward the future. Patience requires discipline and self-control. It's a choice to stay focused and committed even when it feels like nothing is happening. It's resisting the urge to give up or take shortcuts just because the process is taking longer than we'd like. Shortcuts may seem appealing in the moment, but they often come at a cost. They can lead to incomplete growth, missed lessons, and results that don't stand the test of time. God's process may take longer, but it's designed to produce something lasting and meaningful. When we embrace patience in the process, we also learn to trust in God's provision. He doesn't just care about the end result, He cares about every step of the journey. He provides the strength, wisdom, and resources we need to keep going even when the path is difficult. He meets us where we are and walks with us through every season, ensuring that we are never alone. Patience allows us to lean on Him, to rely on His guidance, and to rest in the assurance that He is in control. Patience is not about perfection. It's not about having everything figured out or never feeling frustrated or discouraged. It's about showing up day after day with a willing heart and a steadfast spirit. It's about trusting that the work we're doing now, even if it feels small or insignificant, is laying the foundation for something greater. Patience reminds us that growth takes time, that progress isn't always visible, and that the best things in life are worth waiting for. It's a reminder that God's plan is always worth trusting, even when it requires us to wait longer than we'd like. A grandmaster in chess doesn't approach the game move by move, reacting only to the circumstances in front of them. They envision the entire board and strategize many steps ahead. This foresight, this ability to think beyond the immediate moment, is what separates a masterful player from an amateur. In life, God operates in much the same way. He sees the full picture when we can only see fragments. He plans not just for our immediate comfort or success, but for our ultimate good and His greater purpose. Trusting in His foresight is crucial because while our perspective is often limited and short-term, His is infinite and eternal. Life is unpredictable, and it's easy to get caught up in the chaos of the present moment. When circumstances are tough, our instinct is often to focus narrowly on the immediate problem or obstacle, scrambling to find a solution as quickly as possible. But God's perspective isn't confined by time or circumstance. He sees not just what's happening now, but also what will happen tomorrow, next week, or years down the line. His plans account for factors we could never anticipate. This broader view means that even when we can't see a way forward, He already knows the path we should take. The way God moves in our lives is often misunderstood because we try to apply human logic to His divine plan. We think in straight lines, problem, solution, result. But God doesn't move in linear ways. He weaves together a complex tapestry where every thread, no matter how unrelated it seems in the moment, plays a part in creating the final masterpiece. When things don't go the way we expect or desire, it's not a sign of failure or neglect. It's often part of a greater plan we can't yet comprehend. Trusting in God's foresight requires a significant shift in mindset. It demands that we let go of our desire to control every detail of our lives. Control gives us a sense of security, but that sense is often an illusion. No matter how much we plan or prepare, there will always be variables outside our influence. Learning to rely on God means acknowledging that His control is far more effective and trustworthy than our own. It's about surrendering the need to understand every aspect of the journey and instead embracing faith in the one who guides it. Life can feel like a chessboard where pieces are moving without our input or consent. Sometimes it feels as though we are mere pawns in a game too large and complex for us to influence. But unlike the pieces on a chessboard, we are not powerless or purposeless. God moves in deliberate, intentional ways. Every move has a reason, every delay has a purpose, and every step is carefully calculated to bring us closer to the destiny He has designed for us. Even when we feel like we've been sidelined, overlooked, or put on hold, it's important to trust that He has not forgotten us. His foresight is always working in our favor. There are times when God's moves don't make sense to us. We may question why certain doors have closed, why certain relationships have ended, or why certain opportunities have slipped through our fingers. It's natural to feel confusion and even frustration in these moments. But hindsight often reveals what foresight already knew. The job that didn't work out might have been a distraction from the career we were truly meant for. The relationship that ended might have been a barrier to the kind of growth we needed. God's plans are not only bigger than our immediate desires, but also more tailored to who we are and who we are meant to become. It's also worth noting that God doesn't rush the process. His foresight includes the element of timing, and He is never in a hurry. We live in a fast-paced world where everything is expected to happen instantly, but the most beautiful and meaningful things in life often take time to develop. God's timing is perfect because it aligns with His broader vision. He knows when we are truly ready to step into a new season, take on a new challenge, or embrace a new opportunity. His delays are not denials. They are often the space He uses to prepare us for what's to come. One of the most challenging aspects of trusting God's foresight is resisting the urge to rely solely on our understanding. We are logical beings, and we like to reason our way through life's decisions and dilemmas. But logic has its limits. There are situations where no amount of planning or reasoning will lead to clarity. These are the moments when we are called to lean not on our understanding, but on God. His perspective includes factors we could never predict and details we will never know. Trusting Him means walking in faith even when the path ahead is unclear. Another layer of God's foresight is His ability to use even our mistakes and missteps as part of His plan. In chess, a player might sacrifice a piece as part of a larger strategy to gain an advantage later in the game. Similarly, God can take what seems like a loss, failure, or mistake in our lives and use it for good. He doesn't waste any experience. Even our struggles, pain, and disappointments are woven into the narrative He is writing. What we see as setbacks, He sees as setups for something greater. There's also comfort in knowing that God's foresight is not just about us as individuals, but about the larger story of His kingdom. Our lives are interconnected, and the moves God makes in our lives often have ripple effects on others. A single act of obedience on our part might influence someone else's life in ways we'll never fully know. The plans He has for us are not isolated. They are part of a greater plan that serves His purpose for humanity. Trusting in His foresight means accepting that our role, while uniquely important, is also a piece of a much larger puzzle. Understanding God's foresight also changes how we view challenges and obstacles. Difficult seasons can feel like roadblocks, but they are often necessary detours. God uses challenges to refine us, strengthen us, and equip us for what lies ahead. A chess player might intentionally place a piece in a seemingly vulnerable position to draw out an opponent's strategy, or create an opportunity for a powerful countermove. Similarly, what looks like a setback in our lives can be a setup for victory. The struggles we face are not meant to destroy us, but to prepare us for the blessings and responsibilities that are coming. Faith in God's foresight isn't always easy, especially in a world that values immediate results and tangible evidence. It requires patience, humility, and trust. It means believing that even when life feels chaotic or uncertain, God is still in control. It's about accepting that we don't have to see the whole picture to take the next step. Each step, no matter how small, is significant in His plan. Even when progress seems slow or invisible, we can trust that God is orchestrating something far greater than we can imagine. Victory is not achieved through luck or circumstance. It is the result of meticulous planning, intentional action, and unwavering discipline. Every breakthrough, every success, and every accomplishment stems from deliberate preparation. The process might not always be glamorous, but it is essential. Life doesn't hand out rewards for wishful thinking or half-hearted efforts. It rewards those who are willing to do the hard work behind the scenes. This is a principle that holds true in every area of life, whether it be personal growth, relationships, career, or faith. The groundwork we lay today is the foundation upon which tomorrow's victories are built. Preparation starts long before the moment of action arrives. It is the practice, the study, and the repetition that equip us for what's to come. Just as an athlete spends hours training before stepping onto the field, we must be willing to invest the time and effort to refine our skills, build our character, and strengthen our resolve. Success does not happen by accident. It is born from the quiet, often unseen efforts that few are willing to make. It's easy to look at someone's moment of triumph and assume it came easily, but what we don't see are the countless hours they spent honing their craft, overcoming obstacles, and pushing through moments of doubt. Preparation is not just about practical skills or external readiness, it's also about internal alignment. Mindset, attitude, and beliefs play a crucial role in determining the outcomes we experience. If we approach life with fear, doubt, or hesitation, we're likely to stumble when challenges arise. But if we cultivate a mindset of confidence, resilience, and faith, we position ourselves to overcome whatever comes. Discipline is the backbone of preparation. Without discipline, even the best intentions and plans fall apart. Discipline means showing up consistently, even when we don't feel like it. It means doing the work, even when it's uncomfortable, inconvenient, or seemingly unimportant. It's about sacrificing short-term comfort for long-term gain. Discipline doesn't just happen. It's a choice we make every day. It's deciding that the goal is worth the effort, that the vision is worth the sacrifice, and that the outcome is worth the persistence. Life has a way of throwing unexpected challenges our way. Preparation is what allows us to adapt and respond to these challenges with grace and effectiveness. When we are unprepared, we react out of fear, confusion, or panic. But when we've done the work to equip ourselves mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, we can face the unexpected with confidence. Preparation gives us the stability and clarity to make wise decisions, even in the midst of chaos. It reminds us that while we may not have control over every situation, we do have control over how we respond. Faith plays a significant role in preparation. It's about believing that the effort we put in today will lead to results even if we don't see them immediately. Faith reminds us that preparation is not in vain, even when progress feels slow or invisible. It's trusting that every step we take, no matter how small, brings us closer to the outcome we desire. Faith keeps us motivated when the journey is long and the destination feels distant. It gives us the strength to keep going when the rewards are not yet apparent. Preparation also requires a willingness to learn and grow. It's about being open to feedback, seeking wisdom, and continuously refining our approach. No one starts out as an expert. We all begin as beginners, full of questions and uncertainties. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is the willingness to keep learning, even when it's uncomfortable. Preparation means being humble enough to recognize our limitations and proactive enough to work on them. It's about taking every opportunity to gain knowledge, sharpen our skills, and improve our craft. The process of preparation often feels thankless. There are no immediate rewards, no instant gratification. It's easy to get discouraged when progress feels slow or when it seems like no one notices the effort we're putting in. But preparation is not about recognition or external validation. It's about laying the groundwork for what's to come. It's about doing the work because it's necessary, not because it's glamorous. The rewards will come in their time, and when they do, they will reflect the effort we put in during the preparation phase. One of the most challenging aspects of preparation is staying committed when results aren't visible. It's easy to stay motivated when progress is evident, but the true test of preparation is our ability to persevere through the seasons when it feels like nothing is happening. These are the times when faith and discipline become even more critical. It's about trusting that the seeds we're planting will eventually bear fruit, even if we don't see the harvest right away. Patience is an essential part of the process, and it teaches us to value the journey as much as the destination. Preparation also means anticipating obstacles and challenges. It's about thinking ahead and recognizing that the road won't always be smooth. Being prepared doesn't mean avoiding difficulties. It means equipping ourselves to handle them effectively. This requires foresight, strategy, and resilience. When we anticipate challenges, we're less likely to be caught off guard and more likely to respond with strength and confidence. Preparation gives us the tools to navigate setbacks without losing sight of our goals. Another key aspect of preparation is consistency. Success is not built in a single moment. It's the result of small, consistent efforts over time. The most successful individual, not necessarily the most talented or the most fortunate. They are the ones who show day after day putting in the work regardless of how they feel. Consistency builds momentum, and momentum creates progress. It's about doing the little things with excellence, knowing that they will add up to something greater. Preparation often requires us to step out of our comfort zones. Growth doesn't happen when we stay in the familiar and the easy. It happens when we challenge ourselves to try new things, take risks, and push past our limits. Preparation means being willing to fail, because failure is often the best teacher. It's about embracing discomfort as a necessary part of growth and trusting that every challenge we face is preparing us for something greater. The beauty of preparation is that it's never wasted. Even if things don't unfold the way we expect or desire, the effort we put in shapes us in profound ways. Preparation builds character, resilience, and strength. It equips us with the skills and knowledge we need to face whatever comes our way. It teaches us the value of hard work, the importance of perseverance, and the power of faith. Every moment we spend preparing is an investment in our future. The rewards might not come immediately, but they will come in ways that far exceed our expectations.